What up, what up, what up? Good morning or evening, depending on where you're at here. I'm just going to share this out on Twitter and we will get going here. Hope everyone is doing great, staying safe, staying healthy. I have been doing that mostly. I did get some sort of odd cold or something last week. No fever, no coughing, no respiratory issues. So I even talked to the doc, and they were like, "Yeah, it sounds like a cold. Just hydrate and take painkillers." Okay, sharing this out now. What's going on, everyone? Hey, figured this would be a really hey, Michael. Figured this would be a really great time to catch up with everyone since there's a lot of people who are at home, stuck at home. Hope everyone's finding some good ways to stay sane. And well, real estate. Yeah, I'm going to take some of these questions here. Depending on how many people get on, I should be able to get back to this stuff. I don't want to talk for too long. I don't think I want to go for an hour because I've got to go into town to do some showings with a client. So happy to talk about real estate and how that might be impacting me if you're curious, but we'll try and keep these topics centered around electric vehicles since that's the theme of this channel. Model Y deliveries, they're starting to ramp up. This was, of course, prior to Tesla stopping production yesterday. And the question is, how many have they produced? I saw a VIN yesterday or the day before that was around 1,700. This was someone who I think took delivery of it, or maybe someone who was about to take delivery of their vehicle. So VINs in the 1,700s for Model Y, which seems pretty impressive. But really depends on how much demand there is. I think that there's a ton of demand. I think that if we can just get back to somewhat of a normal life and a normal schedule, I think this Model Y is just going to sell even better than the Model 3. So I'm super excited about that. I have seen one in person. I was there at the launch event a year ago, but I have seen one as of last week in person, and it's beautiful looking. I've also seen two or three on the road already, and I'm just thinking I'm pretty sure they're not the same people, although it's hard to tell because they were the same color all three times that I saw them. But um, I'm in the northwest Denver metro area, so Paul, I should put my thing on silent if I can here. Let me see. Um, well, oh well. I don't want to interrupt the live stream. Anyway, so it's a beautiful car. I think it's going to sell really well. Of course, there's a lot of uncertainty with the coronavirus. Um, how long is this going to last? How long will people's schedules and lives be disrupted? I don't know. I'm really hoping that this is a quick as possible solution and remedy. It seems like a lot of very smart people are working on this. The one key indicator that I'm looking for as a real estate professional, looking at the local Denver market, and this is something that I did on my real estate market update. I have a separate YouTube channel for real estate where I talk about the Denver market. So if you're living in Denver and you want to follow that a little bit more closely, you can probably type in like Sean Mitchell Realtor or Sean Mitchell Real Estate, and it should come up. Far less of a following there, but but I'm really following closely the number of cases, and looking for a little bit more of a flat line with that to get an assessment on how quickly we're going to be able to get back to normal. So I say that to say that I think that automotive production is probably looking at some similar things. Are new cases starting to level out? Are deaths starting to level out? We're starting to get this thing under control. I think that's the most important thing. So Model Y, here's to selling a lot of Model Y the rest of the year. I really do hope that we can get this under control as sort of a collective global population. All right. So next thing, Colorado direct sale bill. Word on the street is yesterday the governor signed this bill. So a quick background on this. This is a bill that was introduced earlier in the year, this legislative session here in Colorado. And it was all designed to give consumers the option to choose whether they want the dealership experience or whether they want to buy direct from a manufacturer like Tesla, like Rivian, like Lucid or Fisker or any of these other ones that will come and choose to have that direct sale model. Was met with a lot of opposition from the dealers association, dealership association, and dealers. And initially, the bill was to allow Mr. Marshmallow. Yeah, thanks. I'm running with that one too, by the way. Um, it was met with a lot of opposition. Initially, the bill was to allow any manufacturer, even traditional ones, but the dealers really threw a fit about that. They said that it was going to be um, not fair to have to compete against larger companies. The bill got modified to only be for manufacturers who didn't have an existing franchise agreement. So it essentially excludes now all the major manufacturers, traditional major manufacturers, Ford, GM, Fiat, Chrysler. But this bill successfully passed through the Senate. It was introduced in the Senate, successfully passed through the House, and yesterday, as of yesterday, it was signed. The bill was signed by the governor. There's been no official announcement. I'm sure that will come here. I'm not sure how quickly, but the coronavirus has certainly taken precedent in terms of communication. But the good news is that this is now signed into law. This not only gives Rivian a clear path to sell direct, to make investments into Colorado by hiring employees, buying real estate, having a physical sales and service locations. This also does benefit Tesla too, even though they were grandfathered in before this law was changed about 10 years ago to close that access for manufacturers to sell direct. So now that's open, provides a clear pathway for even Tesla to operate even more freely than what they were previously. So this was a collective effort by many people, not just myself, not just the Denver Tesla Club, but this was big thanks to Rivian, big thanks to Sierra Club, big thanks to some local environmental agencies. There were a lot of people who were following this. Denver Tesla Club was very active. In fact, several handfuls of us went down to the Capitol during these public hearings and publicly testified. And you all who showed your support, who watched the videos about these topics, not only on my channel but all these other channels that I was fortunate enough to be on to tell this story. What this means for you all who are in areas that are experiencing this anti-competitive law is that this now creates a precedent for a template for other states in the U.S. who have these limitations to be able to take it and duplicate it and run with it. The most powerful thing that can happen is when constituents, people who live in these areas, actually publicly testify in support of these types of laws that open up competition. Here's the thing. These types of bills don't remove dealerships. They allow dealerships to continue to operate just as they always have. It just gives consumers the option to choose whether they want that dealership experience. And if you do, totally cool. I know there's a lot of people though that don't really enjoy that dealership experience. So consumers should have the option to choose whether they want that dealer experience or whether they want to just go direct to a manufacturer. There's pros and cons to both, to be quite honest. Um, um, yeah, so that, I won't draw that out any more than I already have. So bill was signed yesterday, and this is now Colorado law. So huge congratulations. Pat yourself on the back if you helped out in any sort of way. Really appreciate it. So yeah, so that's that, and then update on my Model S. Oh my gosh, the saga continues. Okay, so let me give you just a quick background in case you haven't been following this. January 19th, I got into a minor fender bender, front right part of my car. where I hit someone at low speed, but created enough damage that it needed to be repaired. This is right before my trip to Austin for the fully charged live conference. I was planning on driving, but after this car incident, I was wavering on whether I should do that. Ultimately, decided to do it. Made the drive down there. On the way down there, it was late at night, 1 in the morning, pitch black, two lane road in the middle of nowhere. I come upon these probably around 10 deer. Um, they're not moving. Well, some of them actually did move. Some of them did move out of the way. I started slowing down as fast as I possibly could. Um, for context, my car does not have autopilot, so it was me, two hands on the wheel, looking ahead. I saw them as soon as I possibly could. As soon as the headlights were shining on them, I started slowing down. Maybe at about 20 miles an hour, maybe 15, 20 miles an hour. I did run into a couple of them, created some more damage on the vehicle. Um, Thankfully, it didn't create new damage that wasn't already going to be replaced. After the conference was over, heading back to Denver, my 17-inch touchscreen went black, completely black. It went out, lost the ability to control the navigation, HVAC, radio, you name it. It was quite an interesting experience. Um, so immediately after I got back to Denver, I took it to Tesla. It took probably about a week before they were able to replace the touchscreen. They put in a refurbished one. It was about $1,700 for parts and labor. Got that back. Immediately took it over to an auto body shop. They had already ordered most of the parts because I took it by to have them do an estimate. Um, Took them about 30 days from when I dropped it off to when it was ready. That was what is today. So it was a week ago this past Friday that it was completed. I had it about a week, and then I had scheduled to have a protective clear wrap on the front of the car. So last Friday, I dropped it off at the detail shop, and s- sitting in the parking lot there, and they were great. They gave me a loaner vehicle, a Model 3 performance Model 3 loaner vehicle. And about 10 minutes after I dropped it off, I got a phone call from the owner. He's really great. He's like, Sean, I'm really sorry to say this, but my wife was pulling into the spot next to yours and ran into your car. Like, this can't be happening to me. How is this possible? So, at the moment, I have some new damage on my car, back left quarter of the car. It's not really bad, but the bumper will probably need to be refinished. And the back quarter panel, the aluminum part, will need to be replaced, as well as the charge port cover has some damage to it as well. So, yeah, so I'm going to be taking it back to the body shop. And fortunately, fortunately, but unfortunately, their insurance company is providing a rental vehicle for me. I haven't dropped it off yet, so I still have it. It's still drivable. I'm going to drive it as long as I possibly can. Probably try and wait till the body shop has the parts for it. But I did send them. I did send them the photos of the car. They did send me an estimate yesterday, so things are in motion there. Hopefully, it doesn't take another 30 days because I'll tell you what, it was a huge pain to have to fill up the car with gas. Huge hassle, and it's just not a very fun process. So that's the that's the status of that. Let me go through and will real estate drop. I'm going to answer some questions here from you all. How long are we going? We got 14 minutes. 14 minutes in. So will real estate drop? It might drop a little bit, but I said this on my real estate market update that I published yesterday. It's really too soon to say what the impact is going to be on the real estate market. Fortunately, real estate isn't as volatile as the stock market. We don't see as much of a fluctuation as the stock market, but you get enough of an economic disruption for long enough, and it does and it will impact real estate because in order for real estate to move, um, you have to have economic certainty. You have to have jobs, and if people don't have jobs, especially people who are buying houses, um, if you don't have jobs, you don't have economic certainty, people aren't going to sell or buy. Transactions will still happen. This is for sure. It just looks a little bit different. Things move from a little bit more of a seller's market, like what it is now in the Denver area, to a little bit more of a buyer's market. And you tend to see a lot more investors come out and buy houses looking for deals. I'll tell you what, this if we do end up seeing a significant disruption in the economy, this is where investors are going to make their wealth. Real estate investors will make their wealth. This is a little bit of a little bit of insight here, but um, if you have cash stashed away, you've been diligent about saving some and not spending all in the good times, you're going to be the best position to be able to snap up real estate at a really great price. And if you can hold on to it and weather through the storm, depending on how much money you've got set aside, maybe you buy one property, maybe you buy a handful of properties. This is the if we see a major disruption. Right now, so far, real estate market here in Denver is still moving. It's still active. It's still actually very hot. But if we see a major disruption, this is going to be the time to buy at a really great price. Will Nevada shutdown be a problem for Shanghai battery supply? You know, it seems like Shanghai is pretty self-sustaining. They're not only able to manufacture the vehicles there, but they're manufacturing battery cells there. It doesn't seem like they're manufacturing battery cells on property at Giga Shanghai, but they've got local suppliers. So I think that Shanghai is probably humming along. This is a big reason why I talked about in two videos ago why I think that this will for automotive manufacturers who are making electric vehicles, this will be a really good incentive and drive to localize everything, um, a part of the manufacturing process, including the battery cells. I think that to be globally dependent, to have a global supply chain for batteries, which is a major component of an electric vehicle and a major cost for that matter. I think there's going to be a huge drive to localize a lot of that per continent, and it will help minimize the disruption when we see things like a global pandemic. Those are just my thoughts. Are you purchasing a Model Y, trading in your current Tesla? It's definitely been something on my mind, but as someone who works for myself, I am definitely thinking about how conservative do I need to be and restrict my expenses. If real estate gets hit, um, things take a drop. I'm definitely thinking about that. In my opinion, it's far better to minimize my expenses. I'd like to get a Model Y, but I think I need to wait and see what the real estate market is going to do. As I mentioned before, real estate still happens. There's just a shift in who the buyers and the sellers are. What else? What else? What else? What else? Do you think Tesla should short sell Ford, um, and then pick up pieces? Uh, it seems like GM's in a pretty good position. I just saw that they drew a $16 billion line of credit. I'm hoping that these automakers learn from previous experiences. I really do want to see them survive, and they. I'm optimistic there. So yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, in terms of new cases of the coronavirus still rising, um, one of my thoughts on that is that there's still an issue with people getting tested and getting results back. So I think things will continue to rise, but hopefully these shelters in place and stay at home are helping minimize that. Hazmat suited realtor, yeah. Okay. Um, I was reading some of these comments. You guys are funny. Um, let's see. Maybe time to look at a new Tesla. Yeah, I would like to get one. I could do it, but I want to be really wise with how I spend my money, and I could what I'm thinking about doing more at the moment is just paying off my car. I have about $20,000 remaining, um, of financed on the car. So I'm thinking about just paying it off. That way, I'm sort of minimizing the debt that I've got, and kind of holding tight. No broken mirrors lately. Not that I know of, at least. You're going to be getting a Tesla in the near future. Should you get a Model Y or Model 3? I think that really depends on your needs, to be quite honest. Both are really fantastic cars, and really depends on your needs. Do you need something that sits a little bit lower, a little bit more efficient? I really like the Model Y. I think that the headroom in the second row is really fantastic. I like the lift gate, the power lift gate. You got a lot of the same components in the car. Um, a little bit less range. And so if you want maximum range, you want a smaller vehicle, more efficient. You don't need to tote around a lot of stuff. You want to spend less. Model 3 might be a better option for you. But I think Model Y sort of addresses a larger market. Anyone you're looking forward to interviewing? I'm looking forward to interviewing Sandy Monroe once he has some thoughts on the Model Y. I think that's coming pretty soon. So who else? I mean, I could reach out to a handful of people. I think it would be interesting to sit down with who would be interesting. Um, I'd sort of like to go like everyone wants to interview Elon Musk. I think it would be really great, and I would probably take a different approach to interviewing Elon Musk than what I've seen so far. I would be really curious to interview if I did interview Elon Musk. I'll just put this out here to say that I called it. But I'd really be interested to talk about um, personality, management style. Um, I'd be interested to talk about how he manages his day, time management, and of course, those things reach his responsibilities. I'd be really curious to see how he envisions things like access to internet, broad access to internet. Of course, this touches on Starlink a little bit. Um, parenting. I'd love to know his thoughts on parenting, on time management, on like is he driving his own car when he's driving around? Does he? I think he does drive his own car, but how does he manage all of this stuff? Stress management. I would really love to know from as like a business person, as a thought leader, things like how he sees crises like this. What makes him want to jump into helping out? Why does he do it when he's got all of this other stuff? What are his thoughts on the criticism that he's receiving right now from people that this is just a PR stunt? I'd really love to get into his brain with things like that. Really sort of go like opposite direction from what most people want to know about products and Tesla and SpaceX. But I'd really love to get into the brain of Elon to figure out how he thinks as an innovator and as an entrepreneur. I'd be really curious. Anyways, so that was sort of like a tangent. What I would really love to do is I'd love to sit down with some of his executive team, Jerome Guillen, for example. What makes him tick? How does he manage the operations side of things, the manufacturing piece of things? I'd love to sit down with Drew Baglino, and I'd love to talk with him about battery technology, how they source raw materials, how they think about future iterations of batteries, battery technology. Um, I had a chance to interview Jeff Don, and he's great, but he's also very careful and tight-lipped because he's got an exclusive contract with Tesla. So maybe going to the source a little bit might be a little bit better versus Jeff Don. I'd like to sit down with maybe John Goodenough, thought leader and researcher in lithium batteries. I think that would be really interesting. He's getting to an age now where he's probably not doing a lot of interviews, so I think that could be really interesting. Um, why not a CC adapter for North America? I don't know. It's probably inevitable. Maybe it's just a matter of which problems to solve first. Do you think Battery Investor Day will still be around April? Um, I've heard conflicting rumors, actually. I've heard that it's been pushed back to the summer, but I've also heard that they're going to do it online in April. I think that it might be more advantageous for them to wait because people's attention right now is on a pandemic, a global pandemic, and not on battery technology. That's just my opinion. I think they'd probably get more exposure if they waited. Um, I don't believe that there's been any firm date set. There's certainly been nothing that's communicated directly from Tesla. Um, okay, meeting more. How hard and costly is it to update an assembly line, even when you know exactly what you have to do? For things like ventilators, sorry, I may have missed the initial question. Um, I have no experience in that. I do know that it's capable, or else automotive manufacturers wouldn't be recommending it. John, to answer your question about real estate, is it better to wait or sell now? I'd probably wait a few weeks. There's just way too much uncertainty right now. I might wait unless you absolutely have to sell your house. If you have to sell your house, then you have to do it. But if you can wait, see how this is going to pan out. Does this scare off buyers? At the moment, at this very moment, the last couple of weeks, my personal experience has been that this has not dissuaded buyers from going out and looking at houses. What is happening with Lucid? Well, I've been in touch with them actually. They were going to do a product launch in April, but I'm going to guess to say that has probably been canceled altogether. They were going to do it in conjunction with the New York Auto Show, but my guess is the auto show has probably been postponed. And then they were talking about if it does get postponed or canceled, doing it in San Francisco, but I think it's a bad idea to do that. I probably wouldn't fly to San Francisco to be a part of it. Is Tesla Solar Roof a must-have for homeowners in Colorado? I think it's a pretty good idea. Here's the thing with the solar roof. It's going to be more expensive than solar panels by probably 2x, somewhere around 2x. 2x the cost of existing solar panels. Now, when you factor in needing to replace a roof, might get a little bit closer, but it depends on the type of roof that you have. If you have an asphalt shingle roof, like most homes have, you're talking about $10,000 to $15,000 of roof replacement plus, somewhere around thirty to $40,000 of solar panels. So you're probably getting pretty close to the cost of a solar roof, but it really depends on a few factors there. Sorry, I'm just trying to cover some of these. How long are we? We're at 30 minutes. It's 10:15 my time. I need to probably wrap this up in about 15 minutes. Do you think Sandy Monroe will find um, something else extraordinary besides the heat pump? Um, there's a few things that I would be curious to know. Um, the stamping, the 70-to-1 stamping is interesting to me. Did they manage to reduce the wiring in the Model Y? That's another thing that I'd be curious to know. And what sort of magic does the battery pack have? Is there any magic there? Does the heat pump have any sort of benefit to the battery pack? Hello from Ibiza, Spain. Hope you're safe and well. What do you think about bi-directional charging? I like it. I like it. If it can be done safely, I think it's a no-brainer. Do you plan on getting a Cybertruck? No, I don't. Trucks aren't my thing. I'm not a big fan of trucks actually, which is surprising because I'm originally from Texas, but I'm not a big fan of trucks. Um, okay, so let me scroll down here. I'm probably missing some questions, so I apologize. What do you think is going on with Model Y deliveries? Are they shutting down deliveries? I mean, at the moment, I think at the moment here in Colorado, car sales are still happening. So there is a way to do it. And then I'm getting oh, this is another thing that I forgot to mention. During this whole process, one of my door handles went out. So I'm actually going to have that fixed today. Mobile service is coming to me to have that replaced. So we'll see how that experience is. I think it's going to be pretty touchless, which should be interesting. As a real estate agent, how do you feel about discount agencies that will sell your house for $999? Are they affecting the industry? The short answer is you get what you pay for. So it's a very scaled down service. This typically means it's a very broad stroke. So this is across the board, but um, you're typically taking your own photos. You're doing all of the marketing content. You're providing it to the service, and then they're pushing it out. It's very hands off on their part. You also typically don't get the expert advice, the expert consultation that in many cases is needed. So you get what you pay for. Um, I suspect, I can't back this up with data, although this would be a really interesting video that I've thought about before, but I suspect that um, it takes longer to sell and the houses sell for less. It's a generalization and a gut instinct. I don't have any data to back it up, but that's my guess. You get what you pay for. Um, if Y production started 9 months to a year sooner than expected, will the Cybertruck start sooner? Coronavirus. I think everything is up in the air. I mean, before coronavirus, I wouldn't, I wouldn't have been surprised if it did. But here's the other thing that is a huge variable. This is a different production process. Different production process they've never done before in automotive form on mass scale. So that's another variable that I'm really thinking about. Although the early production, it did get me a little bit more excited when Elon was talking about a gigafactory for Cybertruck. So we'll see, but there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. Main advantages do you think of Tesla Solar have against competition, especially Chinese? Are they having better? Um, the way that I understand it, the efficiency of Tesla panels is not the best in the industry. I think where Tesla is winning right now and will win is software. So the ability to push out features, software features for the end user. So even if you don't have a Tesla vehicle, the app that you can use to monitor and manage your Tesla solar, I suspect is industry leading in the solar industry. And they continue to iterate on that. Hey, there's the trash truck. Good to know that they're not being disrupted. Um, I suspect that they're going to be able to iterate on their product far better than any other solar provider. They're going to dominate it. So I think that's where they're going to excel. The solar roof thing appears to be industry leading as well. They appear to be leapfrogging the industry. Now, the caveat here is I don't follow it as closely as I do the electric vehicle market. So I could be wrong in terms of who else is doing solar roofs, but you know, Tesla's a big company. My guess is um, they're probably filing patents to protect their technology. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of people doing it the way that they're doing it. Um, what else? Yeah, so those are some thoughts. How many people? We got 119 people on at the moment. All right, so let's go for 7 more minutes. I'm going to wrap it up in 7 minutes. Any other questions? Anyone that missed? Any questions that I missed? Please put them in there. I'm watching. I have my computer down here and my phone up here. Certainly some interesting times. Um, if the medical professionals and governments and entrepreneurs can really attack this coronavirus, um, I'm very hopeful that we can get back to our normal lives very soon. Doesn't mean that it's going to eliminate the concern of the coronavirus and the spread of it, but vaccines, ways to cure this once someone has been diagnosed, I think is important. Um, minimizing minimizing social contact. I don't think that we're going to see sports, organized sports for a while. The Olympics, I don't think we're going to see it this year. That's my sense. Do you think China will make much profit for Tesla? I think Tesla. I expect Tesla to double, triple, quadruple down on their efforts in China, since they're the only that's the only manufacturing plant for Tesla that's actually up and running right now. Here's something that I've thought about. So how does Tesla attack this? Where can they produce other products and sell other products right now that do have a need? So my thought for this is stationary storage. If if hospitals are doing if governments are doing these portable hospitals in dormitories, in hotels, are they going to need some extra power? Is there going to be an opportunity for Tesla to sell their stationary energy products to help facilitate this? There's an opportunity to sell their products there, I think. Um, is there going to be a greater demand of power as people are staying at home? I'm sure that power providers are doing just fine, or else we probably would hear about blackouts. But um, yeah, that's a thought of mine. Can Tesla sell their semi truck? Because one thing that is important is the transportation industry. The commercial transportation industry is humming along because you have goods and products like food that need to be transported. So will Tesla go into semi truck production much earlier because there is an essential need for some of these products to be shipped? That's an interesting thought. All right, we got 4 more minutes. Yeah, 4 more minutes. I'm actually really curious about the semi truck thing. Um, keep a close eye on that. I think that there could be a good need to move up that production, um, to start producing that to help address some of these things. So interesting. Getting some more real estate questions here. Will the typical spring housing market push to fall? I mean, spring market is has sprung. It's been pretty busy. One short example: have a client whom I'm going to go see some houses with shortly. He put an offer in on a house over the weekend. They had 50 showings in 48 hours. My client put an offer $15,000 over asking price. The winning offer that this listing agent and seller ended up going under contract with was $25,000 over asking price. So people are still shopping. What else? What else? I think I've got most questions here. If I miss some, please type it. Please type it in the comments. I'm going to wrap it up. From what I understand, Berlin Gigafactory is still under construction, so that's interesting to me. They're still building that out. Could I approach SunPower and do an interview uh, about their answer to Powerwall? Find out if it's where is SunPower located? What's your favorite thing about owning a Tesla? Oof, I like the driving experience. Driving experience is really fun. Responsiveness, acceleration. Driving a Tesla in the mountains is really fun. I also love the software aspect. The car gets better over time. When will supply catch up and lower price of Powerwall? I don't know. Um, I mean, it sounds like battery costs are falling pretty quickly and will fall. So my guess is that Tesla's battery cost with some of their innovations, San Jose. Okay, got it. Yeah, if I think that would be an interesting one. Um, be an interesting one to if they're open to chatting. It would require me to travel, I think. So maybe not the best time to travel. Hey, Steve from Bucksport, Maine. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. Keep an eye on how automotive companies are pivoting to address coronavirus and make sure that essential operations are continuing to operate. So that means, you know, face masks, ventilators. That could potentially mean stationary energy storage products for Tesla as well as semi truck. I think there may be some need there, and there could be a way for Tesla to fill that void while they're not operating on the consumer vehicle side. So keep an eye out for that, and try as best as possible to contribute positive ideas. How can we as a society contribute ideas and make contributions to helping companies innovate and find needs, find opportunities to help solve the global pandemic. So appreciate everyone's attention today, this morning, this evening, wherever you're at. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch everyone on the next video.